Why people love to do content marketing so much is it helps set you up as the expert throughout that buyer's journey.
My business is just me, so I need a marketing plan that I actually have time to do.
I never studied marketing, but I know I have to do it. Sometimes I just need help knowing where to begin.
I never know if the money I spend on marketing is really paying off.
Welcome to Jottful's Marketing Made Easy. I'm Dawn Verbrugge, Jottful's CEO, two-time entrepreneur, former business school professor, and the one with the marketing experience.
And I'm Natalie Bruno, Dawn's partner in crime, certified people person, and the one who speaks with small business owners every day about their website and marketing challenges.
We're here to have practical and fun conversations with people who know a thing or two or three about how to get more customers for your business. Hilary Kirchner believes that just because something's complex doesn't mean it needs to be complicated. That's why she founded Dream Write Creative, a writing and editorial services agency specializing in content marketing for science-based industries. As owner and CEO, she helps organizations blend immersive storytelling with proven educational strategies so their content converts passive audiences into brand advocates. Hilary and I met because she's a member of Jottful community. I have been marveling at her content on LinkedIn for several months now. I think she just writes really smart stuff. She uses really clever lead magnets, and I know we'll talk more about lead magnets as we're discussing content marketing today, right, Hilary? But my first question for you is, can you just level set for us what exactly content marketing includes? Because it just strikes me as this really big topic, right? It's everything. There's blogs. I'm gonna let you cover it, but it just seems like this really huge topic. So can you tell us a little bit about what it encompasses?
Yeah, absolutely. So content marketing is definitely one of those vague terms for a lot of people. So content marketing, you have two phrases here, right? Content, which everybody in the world has content. Netflix has content. Social media is content. Your ads have content. But content marketing as a term means it's something very specific. Content marketing is really about what type of information you're producing on any format, be it video, audio, text, images. And that content needs to be relevant, valuable, and informational. So you're taking your expertise that you have in any given topic of your business or your industry and basically giving it away for free, helping people understand how to do something, how to answer a question that they have. The term I like to use really more than content marketing, it's really kind of mentoring. It's mentor marketing is what it is. So like an ad promoting a singular product is not content marketing. But if you produce an article or a video showing how that product or service works or answering questions about it, then you're getting into content marketing.
Right. And advertising is sort of its own category, right? The whole thing about content marketing is that it's organically promoted, right? You're not paying to actually promote it, but you are paying a lot to create the content. You have graphic content, you have written content, you have video content. All of that requires content creators. All of that requires time. So obviously, if people are giving away content for free, these businesses are seeing some value in it. What can content marketing actually do for your business? What objectives can it help you achieve?
With any, marketing endeavor or strategy, in general, the goal is to bring in more customers, right? But the big pull of why people love to do content marketing so much, beyond can promote it relatively organically, anybody can create it. It's a lot easier to do video nowadays than before. But what it does is it helps set you up as the expert throughout that buyer's journey. So from the very beginning, when they're starting to realize, hey, I might have a problem that I need to solve. I don't really understand what that problem is, how to solve it, where to go to even beginning. All of your content marketing pieces can be that guide throughout every single one of those question points for them. So by the time they actually get to you to ask for your help or pay for your services, they're better qualified customers. So it's not just more customers, it's better qualified customers, ones that you're going to enjoy working with, understand what it is that you do and value what you do, because they've already tried everything else based on the help that you've provided along the way, and they trust you to help them now.
And by the time they come to you, they're already tend to be more pre-sold on your product, right?
Exactly.
Because you've been supporting them and guiding them this whole way.
Right. That's exactly right. When you're thinking of, content marketing, there's so much out there, and you're going to hear the phrase storytelling a lot. You have to tell your story and get people interested. That's where it can kind of be a little bit tricky, especially if you're not a marketer, you're not a writer or a content creator, and you're trying to do this all yourself. When you hear, I need to tell a story about what my brand is and what we do, it's easy to think that that story means I'm the hero of my own story. But in business, your business isn't the hero. Your customer, your target client, they're the hero. You're the guide that helps them along. So if they're Harry Potter, you're Dumbledore, kind of,
Hilary, you sound like someone who has read that book, Story Brand.
Yes. Well, yes, of course.
Yeah, we actually had a guest on, I think it was back in episode 2, so a ways back, to talk specifically about Story Brand and the hero's journey, and how our role is to really be a guide and to help our customers, and our customers are the heroes on this journey.
Yes, exactly. And that's what content marketing is all about, specifically over, other marketing strategies. Social media marketing is a type of channel that you can definitely put your content marketing on. But content marketing really speaks to what it is that you're helping answer for other people.
Yeah. So one of the things I hear a lot about content marketing is that people will spend a lot of time producing the content, right? And it is time consuming, especially when it comes to things like video, for example, to produce content. But then not as much time, or don't put as much effort into the promotion of that content. Can you talk a little bit about that? How is it that we should be promoting our content to make sure that we're not toppling down trees in the forest that nobody hears?
When you think about actually creating content for your audience, the very first thing you want to do is obviously know who you're writing for or creating content for, and what problem you're looking to solve at that point. You get your main bulk of content, be it a blog post or a YouTube video, or it could be a video on your site and promote it on YouTube. But that's your core piece. The way to really distribute it and get it out there is to use all those different channels. And that's your social media platforms. You can advertise it with traditional advertising, so that link in your ad goes to that piece of content. That's really, the social media channels are basically where most people promote it across those. That's how you capitalize on it. When you're creating the posts, you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time. So if you have that core, blog post or article, and you want to promote it on all these different channels, pull out the highlights, learn what it is about that channel that really, gets the view. LinkedIn promotes text posts over video and images sometimes, whereas obviously Instagram is image based. Especially a small business, that's a lot of time tweaking the content to put it on a different place. So what I like to recommend is have basically 2 places you want to go. Put your content on your site so you own it. You're not beholden to if YouTube goes down one day and all your content's gone. And then also choose the 1 or 2 channels where your customers are and where you feel most comfortable, because you're going to have to find that balance of what it is that you can legitimately do in the logistical time that you have. But you have to be where they are. So if no one's on LinkedIn, your customers aren't there, don't post there. No one's going to see it.
Yeah. We follow that exact same strategy, here at Jottful. I'm a big believer in using every piece of the buffalo, right? So when we produce a piece of content, we want to make sure that we're carving it up and using it in multiple ways. So for example, I write a weekly blog post, That goes up on our website, obviously, but I also use that exact same content and we publish in our email newsletter. So
Right.
that is for people who subscribe to our newsletter. We also use it and we publish it on all of our social media channels, but we really focus in on LinkedIn because we know that a lot of our customers are on LinkedIn, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same approach. We want to have a presence in multiple places, but when it comes to sort of really digging in and really spending our time and really focusing, we're pretty heavy on LinkedIn, at least right now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You have to consider what platform are people using to get the answer that you're trying to provide.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's say you're an interior decorator. Obviously, people are going to be looking for inspiration on Pinterest and things like that. And that's one place where you can put some content, but the images alone aren't content marketing. What you're going to want to do is provide more context as to why does this color palette work here, or what were the challenges we faced in this particular client's job and how did we overcome that, so that as people are going through that journey themselves trying to figure out those answers, they have someone to go to and examples to really learn from.
So some content is just kind of beating that drum of brand awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And making people aware of what it is that you do. But other content is very specifically focused on some sort of call to action, which is very oftentimes driving people back to your website. And oftentimes it's using some kind of offer, like a lead magnet, to encourage them to do that, or to motivate visitors or motivate people to come back to your website. Can you talk a little bit about what lead magnets are, or what offers are generally?
So lead magnets are pieces of content that focus on that brand awareness piece and get people in the door and interested. So an example of one that works really well for us, we're writing an editorial services firm, right? So we help people really execute on their strategies. But one of the things that they struggle with, and they are often unaware that they're struggling with it, is their brand voice, what it is that they sound like, and if they're coming across the right way to their target customers. So one of the things that we produce, just kind of for fun to kind of help people start thinking about this, is a little personality style type quiz to discover what is your brand's voice. What do you sound like? What do you want to sound like? And those questions ask, where do you communicate most often with your customers? If your brand was a person, what would be their favorite social media platform? How would they sign off on an email? All those things go into kind of how you want to present your brand voice. So on the landing page, when they get the results, they not only find out, oh, I'm an elegant professional. We like to, be more professional, not so much slang and friendly or something like that, and give them also tips on how to increase that voice. If that's what they really want to go with, use jargon sparingly, don't use a lot of slang, keep idioms to minimum. And then we link them to more information or a content strategy session. So we're kind of bringing them through that pathway of, oh, let's do something fun and figure out who are we really? And then, oh, maybe we need to actually do a little bit more work across the board because we have 30 people creating content for us and everybody sounds different.
Yeah. You know what? I actually took that quiz.
Yeah.
I saw it on LinkedIn. I thought, oh, I'll take this. And the result that we got for the Jottful brand was friendly. And my colleague, Natalie, also took the quiz. So completely independent of me. And she also arrived at friendly. So we felt like the quiz was really good. It was really spot on. But I think it speaks to, as a lead magnet, something that's really important, because earlier you mentioned that, the role of content is to help educate your customers, but this isn't just educating your customers, it's also entertaining them. Can you talk about what it really takes to make a compelling piece of content? Because I think that one just nails it.
Compelling content. It is, as I'm sure you know, can be a trial and error process sometimes, especially, to different people at different times, what they're open to listening to. What you kind of want to think about is always keeping your target customer in mind, your target audience, what they want at that point. So the very most important thing that's going to hook them is if your content's relevant and you get to what that relevance is right away. Don't bury the lead, as journalists say. Get to the point as to why this is helpful why it's interesting, what it will help them do, the
Mhm.
results that they can expect. And that is the first thing that'll hook them. Of course, being entertaining and lighthearted about it will get, certain people in the door. It may turn off some others. You talk about LinkedIn, and I've noticed there's often two different takes on people on LinkedIn. Do you want to be more friendly and personable because we're all human?
Mhm.
Or there are some folks who want to keep it very professional,
Yeah.
only talk about work-related things. You have to decide who it is that you're talking to.
I think some of that content is a waste of time, to be honest.
Mhm.
I see people taking articles and publishing them and pulling out a line. Nobody is going through and reading those articles. It tends to be, someone at a big 5 accounting firm
Mhm.
publishes a piece from their company with some kind of line. And there's just no personality, right? There's no humanness in it. Nobody's going to follow up on that. You're kind of wasting your time making that kind of content, I think. I don't know your thoughts.
You are spot on. I was just at a copy editors conference 2 weeks ago.
Ooh, that sounds riveting, Hilary.
It is actually the most fun and most like word nerd place you could possibly be.
My God.
But there was one session about, trends in content, and they brought up a really good point, which I think bears repeating, is B2B, business to business, and B2C, business to customer. The process for creating content, it's not so separate as it used to be. Everybody's still human, especially, as millennials and Gen Z come up in the workplace. They don't want to talk to a CEO or feel like they're talking to the legal team. They want to speak to an actual person. So the more personable you can make your content across the board, generally the better it'll come across to everybody, no matter what channel you're on.
Yeah, I think, Jottful's in a really unique place because we work with very small businesses and they tend to be marketed to more like consumers. But if you are B2B and you sell to enterprise customers, my goodness, the content that they send out is this boring, bland, as you say. It's been through the legal department. Everybody's ticked off every box. It's good to go and it's safe, but it's really boring. And I always think that there's an opportunity for some of those brands to really stand out if they were willing to take a little bit of a risk and get a little bit more personal.
You're spot on again, especially when it comes to small businesses, whether you're B2B or B2C. Content marketing is the best ways that you can stand out especially when you're competing against larger companies who have a marketing department or can have the resources to hire out a strategist. Content marketing allows you to show who you are, your expertise, and what really makes you different as a human being. Like they say, they stay for the manager, they leave because of the manager. That's also how they purchase goods and services. They want to know who it is that they're buying from and that they're knowledgeable and can help you. So when you think of content marketing as mentoring your potential customer, mentorship is a personal thing. You don't want to just say, hey, there's the library, go check it out. You're educated now. You want to help them along, answer their questions, relate to them on a personal level, because humans are human and we buy on emotion.
So some content is more ephemeral. You write a tweet, you write a LinkedIn post, it goes out there, it disappears from people's feeds pretty quickly, right? And it's kind of gone. But other pieces of content, such as blog posts or pages on your website that are ultimate guides to whatever topic, these kinds of things can be evergreen content, meaning that they're valuable for a really long period of time. And SEO, or search engine optimization, is really sort of a piece of content marketing, right? And it's all about driving traffic from search engines to your website to this evergreen content. I think one of the challenges that people have with content is really understanding how long it's going to take before they start to see some value from all this effort they're putting in. Can you talk a little bit about how long it takes, even with say evergreen content, to start to see some real benefit?
Yeah, so you're definitely right. It can take a little bit of a while. If your only metric is views and likes on social media, you can boost those pretty quickly by optimizing when you post the content and how you engage with your fans on those channels.
And how frequently you post.
Right. And yeah, so that initial piece of brand awareness, getting people to engage with you at the first step, the superficial level, that you can get some numbers pretty quickly. But then tracking why they're coming to you to purchase a good or a product or a service, that can be harder to track, because by the time they get to you, ideally they've probably already read several pieces of your content. So if you ask them, how did you hear about us? They're not going to say, oh, I read that one post about 6 months back. No one's going to remember. So that's where, tracking your metrics on your website, or if you use content marketing software to track it, that's very helpful. But what I found is it can take, to really build those qualified leads, a few months, like 6 months longer. And it depends really on who it is that you're targeting and how far you have to go to get there. If you're brand new and you don't quite know who your ideal customer is yet, you might go through a period where you're really trying to find your niche. So you're not going to see results until you find that niche and really start targeting your content to those folks.
I think it also has to do a lot with what products you're selling. So if you're selling something that's really expensive and it's a really considered product, you're probably going to have to nurture them through your content for a lot longer than if you're selling something that's really inexpensive. Or like in Jottful's case, for example, we co-build and co-manage websites with small business owners. And so you don't need a website every day, right? And recently, somebody came to us, and we always ask, how did you hear about us? He said, oh, I've been following your content for a year on LinkedIn. Yeah. We thought that's great. This is a great example. It gives you a little bit more fuel every time somebody says that, right? It gives you a little bit more fuel to keep doing it, because you can start to see the results. But, somebody can wait a year before they actually need what it is that you have to offer. And it really just depends on what product you're selling.
Right, exactly. And that's what content marketing is. If you're helping them along that buyer's journey, you're not just hearing about them 2 weeks before they need your service. You're making contact with them months ahead of when they actually decide, this is too much for me to handle on my own. I really need to call in the experts. And oh, by the way, Dawn's the expert. I'm going to call her first. You're along that journey. So it can feel like it's taking a lot longer than it actually is, but you're building that trust and that relationship each step of the way.
How can you manage a content marketing campaign or a content marketing program on with limited time and limited budget? This is a hot question for every small business owner.
Yes, exactly. Whole point of Marketing Made Easy is to make it easy, right? So I'm going to tell you something that will hopefully ease your mind. You do not have to put it on every channel to start out with. Start very small. Pick what you feel comfortable with and where your folks are. If you only want to post on LinkedIn, only post on LinkedIn. That's fine. In terms of actually creating your content, though, I know a lot of people get stuck on, oh, well, who cares? What do I know? What is relevant? Start writing down as you're conducting your business any questions that you're ever asked by your customers or potential customers. I'm sure, a lot of people, when they create their websites, somewhere there's a frequently asked question page or something similar. That's a good starting point. Those frequently asked questions. Start there, create content that answers those questions, and maybe back it up. What led to that question? What have they already tried? If my competitor is offering something slightly different, maybe do a post on all the different options for solving this problem. Not really promoting like, oh, their option's terrible and not right for you. They're in business, it's right for somebody. Keep it kind of unbiased and start with those frequently asked questions and just write those answers. Like this podcast, recording the video instead of just audio. That gives you a lot of different formats you can pull clips from. If you are creating a portfolio of, let's say you're a graphic designer, instead of posting just, the graphics and logo you created for a brand, create a case study out of it. What were the challenges that they came to you with that they wanted to achieve and couldn't do on their own? What were all the options you guys consider as a team, and then how you came upon what was the final product? Finding those avenues within what you're already doing in your daily business can really help, just recording what you're doing and keeping track of it.
Yeah, I think, journaling that progress, like you were talking about with the graphic designer, talking about the process that they go through to arrive at the finished design is so much more interesting for people to read and learn about than just seeing the final design. And,
Yeah.
we've seen this as well. Like I was really reluctant for a long time to really show people, too much behind the curtain. And we just realized that people were really responding to that a lot more, right? So instead of us just talking about video marketing, we published a post called Misadventures in Video Marketing, where we shared all of sort of like the hair pulling challenges we've experienced doing video marketing. And it really resonated with people. They said, we see a lot of this too. And thank you for sharing this, because now we'll try not to make all of the mistakes you made.
Exactly. It's so important to show, not just what people should do, but also, what the mistakes are. To your point, misadventures in video marketing. Not only did you humanize what you're doing and, build that rapport for people who are trying to do it themselves, but you're also creating more content of what to do, what not to do, learn from my mistakes. That's what it's all about.
Have you seen some examples that work really well, or what examples of content marketing would you say worked really well? What do you admire?
The awesome thing about content marketing is that it's not a new concept. Businesses have been putting out publications about something adjacent to their products to help their customers for hundreds of years. Johnson & Johnson is one company that does it really well, that I'm pretty familiar with. All the way back in the 1800s, they produced a publication on, modern antiseptic wound closure methods for doctors and surgeons. And yes, they sell bandages, but it wasn't like, here's the only method you should do, buy our bandages. It was, here's all the different options. Our bandages might help, but here's what you can do. And that's an example of, content marketing. They also do a lot of courses and continuing education credits. And that's a form of content marketing too, if you put out a course to teach people how to do something. But more locally, in a smaller business that I've really admired, because my husband and I have just started doing this with our yard. There is a arbor and tree care company here in Ohio. They're so good at their content marketing. They have a couple of different channels, but you can see them on Instagram. They'll post pictures of different trees, but not just the trees. They'll add in descriptions of what it is, where they grow best. If you have one, watch out for these types of bugs and how to treat them. And they're not, saying, if you have these bugs, come hire us. It's just keep an eye out for this.
Right.
They have an email newsletter that has a lot of articles on how to care for older trees without promoting like 40% off of our service this month all the time. It's very much educational about how do you care for these different trees. So when we noticed in our yard that there was one half of a tree falling off, we're like, uh-oh, this might fall on our house. And you Google, tree trimming or someone to come remove trees, you get so many different companies.
Yeah.
But if you want someone who does it right or is careful about how that tree interacts with the environment around it, we went with this exact company for their content marketing, because we could tell they're not just going to come in and hack away and potentially cause more damage. They're going to, provide us with some options of how can we either save the tree or put something in its place that'll actually survive or do better. And they just really do a great job of all those different avenues of hitting people along the buyer's journey.
I love that story. I love it when small business owners sort of really go out there and really do something that's going to differentiate their brand. I mean, that's unexpected, right? From an arbor company. I love that.
And like, if you go to their website, their first header, it's almost all articles about, nature and the life of trees, not call us now to immediately hire us.
Right.
Like some other companies are, which is fine. You can do that too, but they're really leaned in on the content marketing piece, and they're the experts, and they're the ones that I'm going to trust to take down these like 100-year-old trees in our yard.
Awesome. This has been really, really great, Hilary. Thank you everyone for joining us. That's a wrap.
Yay! Thank
Bye.
you.
Well, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed this episode of Marketing Made Easy, please subscribe to Jottful's YouTube channel. That's JOTTFUL. That way, you'll never miss an episode. We'll meet you on the next one.